Welcome back to FryMinis. I'm Eric, and today in our Monsters of the Multiverse coverage, we are talking Hobgoblins. Okay, so out of everything in the book so far, this is probably the one I've been most excited to get to. I really like this take on Hobgoblins. I think it's pretty cool. And in fact, a couple years ago, so like maybe June 2020, one of my very first videos, I did a video about this feat that I had made called Goblinoid Tactics. Check this out. As a goblin, hobgoblin, or bugbear, you're accustomed to working with others to accomplish your goals. You can take the help action as a reaction to another creature within 10 feet of you, making an attack roll or ability check to give them advantage on that roll. Additionally, when you use help as a reaction in this way to aid an ally in attacking a creature, the target of that attack can be within 10 feet of you rather than within 5 feet of you, if the target can see or hear you. That last part was in case like you're here, your person you're helping is here, and the bad guy's here. That way you can just like around them. Also, because that video is so old and so bad, it's unlisted, but check out this screenshot of it. That was before I converted this whole room into the studio and it was still a guest bedroom. It was a different time. All right, let's take a look at our new Hobgoblin lore. Hobgoblins trace their origins to the ancient courts of the Feywild, where they first appeared with their goblin and bugbear kin. Many of them were driven from the Feywild by the conquering god Maglubiet, who marshaled them as soldiers, but the Fey realm left its mark. Wherever they are in the multiverse, they continue to channel an aspect of the Feywild's rule of reciprocity, which creates a mystical bond between the giver and the receiver of a gift. On some worlds, such bonds lead hobgoblins to form communities with deep ties to one another. In Eberron and the Forgotten Realms, vast hobgoblin legions have emerged, with ranks of devoted soldiers famed for their unity. Hobgoblins are generally taller than their goblin cousins, but not quite as big as bugbears. They have curved, pointed ears and noses that turn bright red or blue during displays of emotion. So this particular lore section, I think, is the best out of any of the lore sections so far at explaining the point of this book. We have this is the original version of hobgoblins. This is how they came to be. And then in the Forgotten Realms, the hobgoblins that we're used to, that's why their traits are tweaked a little bit. That's why they've, in the past, had light armor and 2 weapon proficiencies. And then that saving face feature. So it's still kind of working together, but it's a little tweaked off version. This is the general hobgoblin. I'm okay with that. I think that's a pretty cool thing to do. And I think that's a pretty good way to explain the different kind of stat blocks and racial traits. And one thing that I don't think I've done a good enough job in these videos is reminding all of you, which a lot of you remind me in the comments, you don't have to use these new versions. You can use existing versions. That's okay. And I mean, D&D Beyond's even said that they're going to maintain both the original and then this new version, the Monsters of Multiverse versions of the races. So it'll be easy physically to keep doing it online. So for example, if you wanted to keep this new version as the general hobgoblin in other worlds or planes of existence, but in your particular world, maybe they are still that martial focus type, and it works. You can have it all together. And I just think this is just the best of literally saying that. And we can interpret this diversion style in all the other races, and that's fine. But I think it's the best of actually saying that. Okay, our general template remains the same. I know that's a shocker. Our attributes are +2 and +1, or 3 +1s, common and another language, about the size of a human, and we live for about 100 years. Okay, no surprise there. Our hobgoblin specific traits though, that's where we're gonna start having fun. You are a medium humanoid with 30 feet of walking speed and 60 feet of dark vision. And of course, we've got that tag. You count as a goblinoid for anything that requires goblinoid. So that FryMinis Goblinoid Tactics feat, so ahead of its time. Just basically, I'm seeing into the future. It's just a miracle, that's all. Fey ancestry. You have advantage on saving throws you make to avoid or end the charmed condition on yourself. Okay, again, no surprise. Almost every race that's associated with the Feywild has this now. I still don't understand why Heron God didn't pick it up. but okay, whatever. Yeah, I mean, it's a nice little perk. Fey Gift. You can use this trait to take the help action as a bonus action, and you can do so a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus. You regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. Starting at 3rd level, choose one of the options below. Okay, so just that on its own seems pretty cool. Bonus action help, yeah, it's limited in uses, but it's solid. It's basically giving somebody advantage on something, right? Very straightforward. But guess what? It's getting even better at 3rd level. Starting at 3rd level, choose one of the options below each time you take the help action with this trait. Hospitality. You and the creature you help each gain a number of temporary hit points equal to 1d6 plus your proficiency bonus. Passage. You and the creature you help each increase your walking speeds by 10 feet until the start of your next turn. Spite. Until the start of your next turn, the first time the creature you help hits a target with an attack roll, that target has disadvantage on the next attack roll it makes within the next minute. Those are all great. Those are all fun. None of those are going to make or break anything. I mean, a d6 plus up to 6 temporary hit points, like, that's cool, but that's not going to change the game. You're not going to really necessarily build around that, right? You remember, temporary hit points don't stack. Cool. So best case, you're getting 12 temporary hit points. It's awesome. Your total of 24 for you and the ally. That's fun. Getting 10 extra feet of movement speed until the start of your next turn for you and your ally. Great. That's going to be fun. That's not going to shoot you across the battlefield. That's not going to just break anything. It's just a little boost to have fun with. Like, it does, if it had given you, this doesn't cause opportunity attacks, like, that would be pretty intense. But even just with this, it's great. It's a little flavor, fluff, fun adventure time. And with Spite, we've got a kind of roundabout way to give a creature disadvantage on an attack. Like, one attack. That's okay. It's just disadvantage. And it's within a minute, so it's okay. That's whatever. But this isn't anything that's going to completely change or destroy an encounter, but it brings a little bit of spice to that encounter. You can tweak it. You've got a couple options. Which one am I going to go for? This is something that would be really cool for your dungeon master to maybe work with you to improve with, like, custom feats or abilities to enhance that, to maybe make it a D8 or a D10 or a D12 temporary hit points, for example, just to build it up if you want to. But of course, just base as it is really fun. And this also, I think, is a really cool option if you don't have a hobgoblin in your party, because you never want to give away stuff that people get from their own ability, because then you're kind of like taking away their power, right? But if you don't have a hobgoblin in your party, or if you're using the old version, maybe the party can encounter a Fae and make a deal, and they can get like this as like a special feat type of deal. I think that could be a lot of fun too. And for the record, no, I don't think this steps on Bard's toes at all. Fortune from the Many. If you miss with an attack roll or fail an ability check or a saving throw, you can draw on your bonds of reciprocity to gain a bonus to the roll equal to the number of allies you can see within 30 feet of you, with a maximum bonus of +3. You can use this trait a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. And this is cool too. Limiting it to +3 might be a little light. I don't know. I feel like you should at least be able to get your full party's worth of people. And I mean, I don't know like officially what the average party size is, but I would guess it's probably 4 to 6. I don't know. So it's fine. Not the end of the world. What's really going to impact the usefulness of this ability is how you run like attack rolls in particular at your party, like with shield. Okay, so theoretically, let's say I'm the dungeon master, you're the player, I am going to make an attack at you, and I know your AC, and so I say, okay, I've got to hit. Then you would say, okay, I'm going to shield. And then we would resolve with the numbers to see if I would actually still hit or not. Most often, I encounter people who will just say, okay, I rolled a 17 to hit, and then you're like, oh, my AC is 16, so shield to block it. And that makes shield way more valuable because you're not potentially wasting a spell slot. Although officially how it's supposed to be is just without the numbers. So you could like waste it, but that doesn't come up a lot. So how you resolve situations like that could impact the overall usefulness of this feature. But I think for most tables, that's not going to actually be a deal. So yes, I still think Goblinoid Tactics is a pretty cool racial feat. When I first got started with all this, I built out a ton of racial feats. And actually, if you go to D&D Beyond and search from the author, search FryMinis, you'll find a whole bunch. All right, so the Hobgoblin, I think is really, really cool here. I like it a lot. I love the whole flavor, the whole gifty kind of fae type of thing. I think it's really neat. I do like the idea of the old style, the very, apparently the Eberron and Forgotten Realms style, with the very martial, with the weapons, with the armor. And I think that's cool. And I think you can build a lot of really interesting stuff with that. But I think this is a really good option. I like them coexisting. For most of these others options in the book, I've generally felt, okay, this one is superior to this one. Like this one is clearly what I would want in my game. Here, I think they're different enough, but also similar enough that they still make sense, that I'd have no problem if I had two players who wanted to play Hobgoblins and one picked the old version, one picked the new version. I'd be totally down with that. All right, what do you think? Let me know in the comments. Check us out at FryMinis.com. If you haven't already, please subscribe. We're closing in on 4,000. I'm really eager for that. Okay, thanks a lot. We'll see you